If you have a lot of knowledge about dirt, feel free to comment. I'm sure there's a whole lot more scientific way to explain it. I just got on Bob. I'm gonna walk him around, get him warmed up, start moving him around. And while I'm doing that, I want to take a minute and talk about my arena footing. I have quite a few people ask. Normally I drag it every morning. I have a tractor with my drag on it, and that's all that tractor does is drag the arena. But I think I got a bad battery in it. I couldn't get it started. So obviously I didn't drag it this morning. But this arena gets dragged every morning, and sometimes again around lunchtime too. And for footing, your footing is going to vary a little bit as far as what you use depending on what part of the country you're in. I'm on the Mississippi Gulf Coast, so basically our options are sand and clay. So what I have is a mixture of mostly clay on the bottom and then a mixture of mostly sand on the top. As I drag it and keep dragging, the clay is going to settle down and the sand is going to come to the top. So as I drag it, it just keeps getting better and better. The dirt here, I think all dirt, the dirt here, if you was to look at a single grain under a microscope, it's not round. It almost looks like round with points on it, kind of real irregular shaped. And the way I had it explained to me is the more irregular shaped the grains are, the harder it is or the less that sand is going to pack, because the irregular shapes don't match together. And then as those shapes kind of wear down and you end up with a more regular shape, they'll meld together better and then they pack better. That's the way I had it explained to me. If you have a lot of knowledge about dirt, feel free to comment. I'm sure there's a whole lot more scientific way to explain it. So my base I want packed together, a smooth base, firm, smooth level, and I want it to pack where the top, I want it to be a little sandier and I want it to be less packed, a little bit fluffier. That fluffiness is going to provide the cushion for the horse to lope on, and that fluffiness is going to become light as that dirt dries, which makes it easy for the horse to stride through. I only want about 3 inches of that fluffy on top. I don't want the horse to be lugging through all of that. I see at a lot of arenas I go to, they just get real deep, and when you ride a horse in it, the horse is just lugging through that dirt. And I think about me trying to run or walk in sand on the beach. It's hard to do. You can't run very fast. You can't stop turn very good. It's hard on your legs because you don't get the lateral support on your legs. So I want that top fluffy to be roughly 3 inches. That's enough to soften the impact of the horse's foot, but not so much that the horse has to work extra to run through it. My sand that's on top, it's actually pretty wet right here. It's kind of like wet beach sand. And so even though it's holding a lot of moisture right now, it's not slippery because it's sand. It's kind of funny to watch because if I get a lot of rain, my arena is better to ride in than if I get a little rain. If I get a little rain, it's like that fluffy stuff holds the moisture like a sponge, and it'll actually take longer for it to dry. Or if I get a lot of rain, it's like it squishes that sponge down and then the water runs off the top. It's kind of interesting to watch. And then the other thing that affects my arena is the air humidity. Living where I am, we're in a pretty humid environment. And a lot of times the dirt will hold that moisture. If I have dirt here in my arena, that moisture either has to evaporate up or it has to seep down. Our water table is not that deep here. and then our humidity level stays pretty high here. So a lot of times it takes a while for my arena to dry. My covered arena in there is wetter than this arena because it doesn't get the sunlight to help pull the moisture out. So the moisture level in that arena today is higher than this moisture level. Just a little bit about my dirt. A lot of people ask.